Okay. Well, in 2007, the world was introduced to Kim Kardashian on a large scale basis when the tape of her and Ray J came out. And for the first time ever, it really propelled the career of somebody to essentially the highest level. Was that a surprise to you at all in terms of the level that she's reached?
I think it was, because it wasn't your traditional route to become a superstar, but
right.
Hey, they made it. You can't, Kris is a genius. That's all I can say. I think that however, if you could take something that might not be to them at the time positive and turn it into $1 billion, that's, kudos to them. That's all I can say,
Yeah. I mean, even the title is Kim Kardashian Superstar. So,
hey,
I mean, they pretty much willed it into existence, at the end of the day.
I'll say this to you, Mr. Vlad. I wish them the best. Don't turn this into Damon bashing Kim. We can't have that.
No, we're not doing that at all. Shout out to Kim and all her success and everything else like that. Yeah. And her whole family, for that matter. I mean, they turned into an empire.
Listen,
they turned into an actual empire.
We talked about this interview for weeks, right? And I told you I don't want to jump in that fight. You notice Kanye ain't said nothing since they took him off Instagram?
Yep.
Come on, bro. I don't leave me. I don't want nothing. Whatever power they got, I'm fine over here. I'm happy. This is what happiness looks like, by the way.
Yep. Well, in 2008, one of my favorite songs by you came out, Jordan Sparks featuring Chris Brown, No Air.
No Air.
That was a monster.
It was a big monster. And we knew it was a monster before it came out. And I'm going to say this to the whole public. This song started with a guy, Eric Bluetooth Griggs, a good friend of mine. And he was introduced to me by Jay Valentine's brother, Bobby Knoop. So Bob was also a part of the whole underdog movement and all that, and all our songwriting too. You don't hear much about Bob. So I got to give props to everybody. And I'm going to do this more. We're going to do a whole thing on this, on the songs. So No Air. Let's talk about No Air. Started with Bluetooth. And this is one of the days that Harvey, I remember we were working on another movie, and I was in this Studio C. Harvey and Bluetooth were in the room across from me, and I remember hearing Harvey sing melodies. This is before any other writers got there, so they had a good idea, and I would go back and forth. They had a good idea what this song was going to be, and then there's another writer, James Fauntleroy. And James Fauntleroy is one of the biggest songwriters today. We signed James Fauntleroy. And if I had to have a message to James, I'm going to say this message on Vlad because it's important. I've heard, because I helped this kid. This is somebody the same way Babyface helped me. I helped him in the beginning. And I believe that young people need to show people respect. You know what I mean? Like, you see how the respect that I give to Kenny, I believe that respect is due to us. And I think there was, after we signed him, he went and made some deals, and everybody has the right to do their own business. I learned, because we had to end up suing Universal over James Fauntleroy, I learned the backdoor deals that were being done. That had nothing to do with me, but we were being blamed for things that we weren't even responsible for, weren't in our control. And he ended up being signed with Roc Nation and becoming this great writer. And I applaud him. I think he's great. But at some point, you have to stop being angry at the underdogs and say, hey, those guys gave me my start, no matter how you look at it. Now, let's go back to No Air. I'm going to talk about this because I heard him say in the interview, he tried to say certain people on the song wasn't in the song. Well, let me tell you how the song even went. The song would have never got on Chris Brown if it wasn't for me, because I'd never wanted the song to be just on Jordan Sparks. She came to our studio after she won American Idol, and I played her the song, but we were initially wanting to keep it on James as an artist. So I said, you can't have this song. But they told us at Jive, we're not going to re-up your song deal with Jive if you don't. We were getting $50,000 a song, so we're not going to re-up your song deal if you don't let Jordan on the song. So I thought quickly. I said, hey, man, I'll let Jordan on the song if y'all put Chris Brown on the song, because we already had 75% of his album over here, right? I said, if you put Chris Brown on it, I knew Take You Down was going to come out. And so I'm strategizing as a songwriter, as a publisher, as a businessman. So I made this play. So we made the play, and this is what I'll say about the song. This is a song that Harvey had a lot to do with. Steve Russell had a lot to do with, myself, James, and Bluetooth, the success of this song, from creating it to putting it in the right place to doing all of those things. So I think it's unfair. I think what the narrative was, James Fauntleroy wrote No Air. Well, I have the demo of it. Steve Russell wrote the B section. You can't, what I know about songwriting and these things is when you create magic, if it's 5 people in the room that gets that song done, you can't make one person can't take credit for that. And so what I've decided to do is, through our whole catalog, and I have a big catalog, I'm going to go song by song and do some videos and really talk about these things. I could do it with you, Vlad. We can even do that. Talk about how they were created, talk about who participated on it, other than just Harvey and Damon, the underdogs, the creatives that were involved. But I think it's fair that everybody gets their respect and just due. And I'll say this to James on the record. Bro, I was there for you. So I've never got a thank you. I've never heard in an interview, Damon, I've never heard anything positive. And I think that I'm owed that by that songwriter, because I give that same respect and just due to Babyface. No matter what, you could have, me and Babyface have had an argument before. That don't mean I'm not going to disrespect him. That's my guy. You know what I mean? That's the kind of respect that I want to teach to some of these younger generations, and that's why Jay Valentine and Tank want me to come and sit down, because they want to hear my version of it, and I'm going to give that, but this is part of it.